Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. And as you see, we have a very special guest with us, his second appearance. Welcome back in, Dallin. How are you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thank you guys for having me. It's been fun trying to get you guys to get me back on the podcast. It's finally happening.
Hey, sometimes persistence pays off, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. If you want anything in life, just keep bugging people.
That's good life advice right there. Well, how are you doing? How are you feeling so far in this off season?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I just I'm itching for football. I think like we're all at that point where we just want to see real games.
Hmm.
Um, so anything that happens is like the most important news of my life. And latching on to everything, on Twitter all day, probably. So yeah, we're in that season of football life.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that preseason games last Saturday when they started, I was almost giddy to turn that TV on and see backup players playing.
Yeah.
But it was
Panthers
so fun.
Cardinals Hall of Fame game, right? All of us were
That,
glued.
that was legit. That was a good game.
I read something about the viewership of that game was more than like any NHL game. You guys might have talked about this already, but I mean, we're all sickos, right? That's what everybody kept saying,
Hmm.
and it's true.
Hmm. Absolutely. We're all
So it was
sickos and
it was
we
7
keep
million
getting sicker every
viewers.
year. 7
7 million.
million.
Holy cow.
I will say though, I think that game was an exception because you had an exciting ending, whereas my Eagles, what was it? We lost 7-26, could not get anything going on offense. That is 7-24. That is the epitome of preseason games to me. So I'm gonna have to disagree, guys. I hate preseason games.
Yeah, I thought I was really excited to watch the Pats, and then we tied the Colts, which like think a tie is the worst thing in sports. So it really soured me to it. But I've had a whole week to get excited again. So
I don't feel
Hey,
like why can't the NFL just do like, in preseason over or preseason, you have overtime, but it's only kickers. Kickers are just dueling it out, and whoever misses
I
the
love
first
that.
kick, that's
I
who will
love
lose the
that.
game.
No one's getting hurt in
uh
that scenario. That's awesome.
well, our
Well,
kicker was 1 for 4 that day. So I don't know if I like that idea, Lance.
well,
But
it's preseason, Dallas, so no one cares.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
my
yeah.
team won. That's all I'm saying. My team's the only one that won on this show so far.
That's crazy. But I've seen a lot of talk though about them going to more of a joint practice preseason. Um, what
Hmm.
do you guys think about that? Have you thought much about it? And do you think the joint practices are better than a preseason game in some instances?
I would think so.
I yeah, I think that joint practices are much better than preseason games because preseason games you can't script. It's just random, which is helpful. But in joint practices, it's ones against ones. It's scenarios like red zone, third down, backed up against your own goal, all that stuff that you need practice at. When you're between the 20s, that's nice, but when it gets down to it, it's the red zone, it's third down that you really need time with. And to practice against another really good defense or really good offense, that's where you get real learning from. So I think joint practices are much more valuable for the players than preseason games. But for us fans, we don't get to watch those joint practices, not really, unless you live in that area.
Yeah, you gotta
So,
you gotta get the highlights.
hmm.
Well, I think to add
Mhm.
on to that, though, I think what the NFL should focus on is in the regular season, you don't get to enjoy one-on-one matchups unless they take a moment to be like, oh, look at this moment between J.J. Watt and
Sure.
whoever it was, or between Miles Garrett and. But like in a joint practice, when they have sessions where the offensive line are going against the
Mm.
defensive line, you could just literally take 20
So
minutes
much
of
fun.
this and you'd be watching one-on-ones of some of the best players going at it in ways that they
Hmm.
typically never do. Because like Lane Johnson only plays on the right side of the field, right? Miles Garrett
Mhm.
goes left and right, so they don't play each other all game. Whereas in joint practice is typically the best go against the best the entire practice. AJ Brown, Quinyon Mitchell.
Mhm.
You just don't get that consistency in the game, and I think that if the
Mm.
NFL played it right, it could be far more entertaining for fans because it's something you want to get in the
Yeah.
regular season. You don't get that intense of one-on-one coverage.
Yeah, there's nothing that has gotten me more excited for football than these one-on-ones in practice. So I'm so glad you said that. Um, and I feel like it's something that could make great TV if they had somebody talking over the practice or something, because obviously none of the coaches
Mm.
want the mics in there and stuff, probably. But
You know what I think you should do? I think that they should schedule the joint practices on the same days, and you just have Scott Hansen hosting
dude,
NFL preseason red zone.
you had me at Scott Hansen. I'm in.
I think that that's easy money for the NFL to make.
For sure.
Hmm.
And the only reason why Roger Goodell would be against it is because he's like, but then we wouldn't be covering every single time zone of a weekend.
Yeah.
And I'd say, who cares? I'd rather just have awesome content. So
Hmm.
My IT team would be knocking down my door at work. Like I would have it on all day.
It'd be a problem, but a good problem.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about joint practices, should we get into it? Because you two are battling out the past couple days, and I've seen some stuff, but probably not as much as you two have. So I want to give you two the floor to talk about Eagles versus Pats, AJ Brown against his former team. How is that going so far?
Yeah, revenge tour, right? Well, I don't know. What do you think, Lance? How do you feel about how the Eagles look?
Um, I think there's been good moments, and I think there's things that they got to work on. But Quinn Mitchell looks like a legitimate cornerback, and AJ Brown looks like a legitimate receiver. And I've shared with Andrew and shared on this podcast many times before, but we miss AJ Brown. We didn't want him to go. Um,
Mm.
it's still super weird how we don't know exactly why he left. Um, it is strange, but I think he's an awesome receiver. I think he'll do great. Um, he's definitely had his moments where he's looked very impressive. Um, and we'll kind of have to see how things are going to happen for the rest of the Eagles cornerback group because I mean I think that Mitchell's looked good. I think that Cooper DeJean's looked good. A safety room kind of feels like man, I don't even know how to describe it. Like imagine just a C plus B minus. Like they can do a competent job, but they're not going to do amazing. And that's kind of what we got in the safety room right now. Um, Now, as far as Reek Woolen, it's weird. Like Reek Woolen, there's like moments you're like, whoa, this guy's amazing. And then there's moments you're like, we'll see. So I think we've seen a little bit of that at this practice. Jalix Hunt has looked awesome. Um,
I have seen his name everywhere. Yeah, people like him.
he's super good. In fact, I think he had 2 interceptions last year as a defensive end, which was really impressive. But he
Mm.
used to be like an off-ball safety linebacker, so his ability to read and know when the quarterback's going to throw allows him to get a head start on shooting for interceptions. So just that experience has made him all that more dangerous. But I think he has the legitimate chance to be good. Um, I think the other part people forget about for the Eagles is they're looking at Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt playing, saying like, "Oh, well, this could be an okay defensive back or defensive line room," but they're forgetting that Jonathan Grenard has been out. And
Mm.
that defensive line will look completely different once Grenard is back. And in my mind, I'd rather Grenard take more time than less time. Um,
Hmm.
and then that way, when he's back, hopefully he'll be ready. It's been
Mm.
kind of funny, just like listening to this camp stuff. I was one of the early ones to say it, and I told this to Andrew. But Landon Dickerson made a huge mistake coming back when he did, and I kept saying,
Mm.
"This is going to be it's going to hurt him. It's in the long run, he's going to regret this." And it's been funny because ever since that injury, he's come back this offseason saying, "Man, I really rushed back. It was the worst decision for me. I wasn't myself. I couldn't do the job." And like that's the reality. Like there's just times that you just have to pull back and say, I love my team and I love playing, but I'm not even close to my half best self. And the person behind me could do a better job. Like I told this to Andrew too, and during the regular season, there was a point where Landon Dickerson's backup went in looking better than Landon Dickerson. And it's like,
Mm.
okay, that's a sign of like this dude is legitimately injured. So just some interesting moments like that. Um, I think that Jalen Hurts overall, I'm impressed by the comments I've heard. Yeah, there's problems. Like I'm not saying there's not, but considering he went from having AJ Brown all the time to not, and Devontae Smith and Mekhi Lemon have had hamstring pulls that have kept him out.
Hmm.
So he's not even playing with his top guys. Smith, I think, is kind of like coming back a little bit, but Dontavian Wicks has looked like a hmm, I don't know who I'd compare him to. He's someone I would say like in the vein of he could be the next Jason Avant, which I don't know if you guys know who Jason Avant is, but he's probably in the modern Eagles era considered to be the best number three receiver they've ever had.
Mm,
So like, is that an awesome compliment? No, but like he's had moments where like he could do something. So I think that's his like floor. We'll see what the ceiling can
Hmm.
be, but I think the floor is he could be the next Jason Avant for the Eagles. But Hollywood Browns kind of just looked like a meh receiver. Um,
mm,
so yeah, I think the Eli Stowers, the tight end that we got from Vanderbilt, I think he's super, super green. Um, he's got a ton to learn and probably not going to see a ton from him. Jeremiah Trotter, been hearing great things from him. I think that like, I'll make a prediction for next year. I think that we're going to trade Zach Bond and in the offseason just because of his age and his salary. And then we'll have Jeremiah Trotter and Jahad Campbell be our starters at linebacker.
Hmm.
So that's kind of some of the stuff I've seen on the horizon. Offensive linemen, I think we look better as far as backups than we did a year ago. Did you guys hear about the Moro Jomo Fred Johnson fight?
mm-mm,
Man, it was crazy. But last week in practice, so Fred Johnson is going up for a backup spot. He's competing with that former Miami offensive tackle, um,
Oh, that you guys drafted this year?
Markel Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been competing against Markel Bell, but like Markel Bell is like crushing him. Like he is far and
Hmm.
away the Eagles' best number three tackle this year. And it's clearly affecting Fred Johnson emotionally. And so in practice, he's been more fired up. But he went up against Moro Jomo. They started to get into it, and Jomo threw a punch, and the coaches still let them play. Like I'm surprised they were like, all right, we're gonna take you guys off the field, and anyway, so they do the
Hmm.
next snap, and then it ends up uh in a like huge fight. Fred Johnson like bulldozes a Jomo to the ground to the point it's a holding. The defensive players get in his face and start to get a little aggressive, like never pushing, but like strong words. And then out of nowhere, Jomo just comes and dives into Fred Johnson's legs. Like it was not good. It was not a good moment. Harry Roseman and Nick Sirianni talked to the two players afterwards. I think pretty much telling Fred Johnson like, listen, that happens again, and we're just gonna have to can you. Like this project's over.
Hmm.
That's what I guess. And then like maybe they tell Jomo like we will sit you. So yeah, that's
This
kind of
is the other
Hmm.
part of these preseason practices that would just be like must see TV, right?
as long as you're not seeing injuries, I think that's part's like you don't want to really teach that to the younger generation, right? Because then you're going to see that high school, you're going to see that junior high.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I do hear what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So I want to go back to your units on the team. Do you feel I feel like you guys' defensive line has kind of been a unit that's defined this modern Eagles team. Do you still think it's your strongest unit, or are you feeling better about the O line? Obviously, you had a kind of a rough year last year where guys were in and out.
I mean, I think that there's the potential for the D line to. I think that it all depends on Jalen Carter. I think everyone else has bought it on Jalen Carter, and I did see his NFL ranking by his peers of being number 29 on the top 100 list, which is surprising.
Hmm.
Um, I think the part that I struggle with Jalen Carter is I cannot stop thinking of Spitgate. I cannot stop thinking of how incredibly dumb that moment was. Like it really did almost cost the game. And like that level of idiocy can't happen again. And so it's just
Hmm.
I'm cautious and I'm trying to like weigh out like, okay, is this guy serious? Is he really done being a fool and making bad decisions? or is it going to continue to surface at moments that are like critical to the team's future? Because like I'd say it's almost similar to Lane Johnson, where like Lane Johnson got busted twice for using a substance, right? That was against the NFL policy. I don't know if you guys remember this, but in Carson Wentz's first year, he got busted the second time and he got kicked out for the season. Like afterwards, I
Mm.
think it was like 8 games, might have been 12 games. But like that was really bad and it really hurt the team. And then Johnson completely flipped the switch and has become a completely different player, has not taken substances that would even put him remotely close to the issue. And so I just look at Jalen Carter in the same way, like, all right, Carter, like, what are you going to do to show that you're ready to be in the spotlight? So you ask me about the defensive line, I would say we go as far as Jalen Carter goes.
Mm.
Um, if he's serious about being better, then we could be amazing. But if he's not, then it's hard to say. I do think Jalen's son is awesome. Out of him and Nolan Smith, I think that Hunt's going to get the extension. Smith is going to get let go.
Hmm.
But I think there's potential. I've been impressed by the way they've looked. Even our backups are playing a little better. So,
Mm.
do you guys know about um, our defensive tackle that's nicknamed the White Gorilla? He's from
Mm.
Nebraska. I
I know you're
can't.
talking about. It was your draft pick,
Yeah,
not this past season,
Ty
but the year
Robinson.
before. Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
they call him the White Gorilla. I just think it's hilarious that that is his nickname. Um,
That's funny.
but he's looked a little less baby. I'd say that's how they considered him. Is he wasn't
Hmm.
very he didn't look NFL ready last year, whereas this year he's looked better. So we're getting some better play
That's
from
good.
backups and things like that. So yeah. What about you? What about on your end? Besides being AJ Brown, obviously looking like AJ Brown.
Yeah, man,
Hmm.
I think that's been the thing that I've wanted to see the most out of these joint practices. I think first of all, I love joint practices against good teams, and I think you guys are one of the best
Hmm.
teams. And so it's been an awesome thing to kind of track and
Was
follow.
that a compliment, Dallin? Wow.
It
I just
was, I know. It's early here, okay? I'm still not fully awake. Um, yeah, AJ Brown's looked awesome though, and multiple reports have said that he's been far and away the best receiver in that joint practice. And I heard something about May just was like peppering him yesterday and went at it. I think he threw it to him like 8 times and he caught it 7. Um, and he's just been like looking great against some of the best. Like you said about Quinyon Mitchell, I think it's really helped AJ Brown to just go up against Christian Gonzalez every day in practice, at least every day that Christian Gonzalez has been there. Um, I think that's probably storyline number one is AJ Brown on the Patriots is so exciting. And then storyline number two, I kind of touched on Christian Gonzalez, but when does his contract get done?
Hmm.
I didn't even realize until a couple days ago that he has the same agent as Witherspoon, and Witherspoon just signed that massive deal with the Seahawks. I think it's like 30 million a year, and so it's. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Christian Gonzalez, but to his credit, he was there day one, and he's been to many of the practices and the training camp stuff, but he's also sat out a little bit, and so I wonder where that contract's going to land and where we're going to go with that. But
Hmm.
he's probably the only bright spot we had from that Super Bowl. I mean, he was awesome. He played so good, and we've seen it in camp too. Like he's manhandled AJ Brown, and AJ Brown's come right back, and the competitiveness has been crazy. And I think that I mean, it's just a preseason joint practice, but I'm sure that helped AJ Brown against the Eagles this week. Um, I think there's a couple other things to be watching. Campbell has sat out a little bit. I think he's looked better this year than he did last year. I think his pretty solid rookie year gets buried by his playoff woes. And he came back you probably saw some things about him working out with um, like world-class offensive linemen this offseason. In fact, I think one of your guys was there. Was it Dickerson or was it Lane Johnson? I think it might have been Lane Johnson that
I
was
think
with
it's Lane
him.
Johnson. Lane Johnson
Yeah.
leads an offensive line camp. So that's what it sounds like that was.
Yeah. So Will Campbell was there. I think he's been in the right rooms all off season. And he's looked better, but he's also sat out of a couple practices and I don't know. They've been pretty hush hush with why. that is. I think that he was probably dealing with something injury wise, but um, his backup has stepped in and looked pretty awesome. Marcus Bryant, he was a seventh round pick from a couple years ago, I think, and he's looked really good. And then we've got Caleb Lomu on the other side, who's looked pretty solid, I think, as a rookie. He's mostly been working as a right tackle, and so we all knew after the Super Bowl that the biggest thing for the Pats was offensive line help. Um, and I think that they've made the right moves. I just want to see the players do their jobs now, because I still am a little bit scarred from that game in February. So
Hmm.
we'll uh, we'll see how that continues to develop. But I do like that we're going against one of the best. The reason I ask about your defensive line is because I mean, it's a chance to go against one of the best defensive lines I feel like in the sport. And so, so far, I think the new additions or the ones that are rotating in have looked great. Um, Also, there's a storyline of Gabe Akis. Gabe Akis is one of our linebackers that, if you guys remember, his rookie deal wasn't signed for a little while, and so he missed some
Hmm.
of the real early stuff. But he's come in, and I've listened to some of his interviews and stuff, and he sounds like he's really bought in, and really loves Coach Vrabel. I think they relate, to each other a little bit, and so Gabe Akis has looked really good, and he's getting first team reps now. I think the Patriots defensive line could be a very sneaky unit this year. You get another year under Christian Barmore's belt, and so yeah, I just really like where things are headed there on the front, on both sides of the ball. And then I think if I had to answer the same question I asked you, like what is our best unit? I think our wide receiver room is absolutely stacked right now. I don't know what's going to happen with Kayshon Boutte, but he for the first week of camp, he was probably like the MVP of the Patriots training camp. He just caught everything. Every day was like, oh, the three more touchdowns today from Drake May. And it's like preseason, but he's working against Christian Gonzalez and I think a pretty solid secondary. And he just looks dominant. And I love the way he's responded to, because there's been a lot of trade talks with him.
Hmm.
And the response has been just like old school Patriot way, show up, do your job. And I love that. Now, though, I just don't know what they're going to do because he's such a good Patriot. He had really great moments in the playoff run last year. If you remember, he's the one that hauled in that one-handed touchdown pass down the sideline against the
Hmm.
Texans. Um, and so I just don't know how you get everybody on the field, though, because Dobbs has looked awesome. I think Romeo Dobbs is going to be one of the best offseason moves the Patriots have made in a long time. And it's going to be a sneaky one, kind of like Wicks for you guys. Like um, I think Dobbs is the better player out of those two, but both of them are great wide receiver signings, and it seems like the Packers really had some things going on up there, developing young players. Like it feels like they've done a great job. But yeah, I think if you get Dobbs lined up, you can kind of line him up in a number of ways. I think AJ Brown you can move all over the field. Pop Douglas is a great like slot guy or gadget guy. And then you've got to worry about Kayshon Boutte. And then you haven't even gotten to like some of the great backups that played really well for us last year. I know I teased you all the time about Matt Collins, Lance, but I mean he was awesome for us last year, and he's been even better in camp this year.
I'm
I
just glad that
think
you're finally giving Matt Collins some flowers.
no, I've always he's been an awesome guy. Like I've liked him, but I just think like I said last year at our lowest moments, like when your best receiver on the team in any given moment is Matt Collins, you probably have some work to do on that unit. And I just think that work is done. Like we're never gonna this year we're not going to be having that conversation barring injury. So, but a guy like Matt Collins who got a ton of playing time last year and has come into camp and really been working with the twos, and he's given the defense fits. And so, yeah, I think that wide receiver room is just completely stacked. It'll be it'll be really fun to watch how McDaniels uses AJ Brown, but B, how the other pieces kind of orbit around him and what formations they line up in. Um, One of the other great offensive pieces too that we added was this rookie tight end. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about Eli Raridan, but he's been awesome, and he's had a lot of rotations in with the first group too. And that's after we just signed a contract with Hunter Henry. And so Eli Raridan's looked awesome. His run blocking in the first preseason game was really impressive. Um, and he's the kind of guy that can get out there 10, 15 yards down the field and run really good routes. And I think I've seen a lot of that too in the one-on-ones and the little clips I've seen. Like it seems like every time he's on the screen, he's catching the pass. So it's really awesome. Um,
By
yeah.
the way,
Go ahead.
I was just saying, can we just take a moment to just I don't understand what the Packers are doing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not mad about it.
Me neither.
I just don't understand why they gave up Dobbs. And I mean, because they gave up Dobbs, right? Like, and then that's a salary issue because he's a free agent. But then they give up Wicks.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm so surprised that they kept Jaden Reed over Wicks. And
yeah,
like, Christian Watson's got
Yeah,
nothing.
the only thing I can
Go
explain
on.
is maybe they think they have something in the rookie they drafted last year in Golden. That's the
Golden.
only
Golden.
thing that can explain it. But I don't know. I saw him a lot being, a Vikings fan. I watched our competitors and I was not impressed. He's got great speed, but he
Yeah,
just, unless he takes a good second year leap, which he could potentially, I just didn't see number one receiver in him. I saw a good gadget player,
yeah.
but not a legit number one. And with Christian Watson always being hurt, who do you have? So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm confused, but
I
I'm
don't
happy about
understand
it.
because like in my mind, right? Like you can lose Dobbs. Makes sense. Can't keep him. Too much money. But like we disagree on the whole compensation big thing. But this is especially a Packers philosophy. If you really think that Wicks is good enough, he should get you a compensation big back. Don't just throw him out the window and then make yourself have one less good receiver. That to me is what I just don't understand is they had four legitimate receivers they could work with, and now they have three. Like I don't understand what that. How do you get better as a team by that? I don't
Hmm.
think you get better. I think you got worse. And so it's like, I'm happy. I'm happy we have Wicks. I just can't believe that they literally were like, yeah, we're tired of Wicks. You guys can have him for like a fourth and a sixth. Like that just seems bizarre. And literally, he's been our most consistently good receiver in camp. Some people have talked about Darius Cooper. I'm still not high on Darius Cooper. He made some really, really dumb decisions during games last year that resulted in personal fouls. And for me, dumb
Mm,
decisions negate play. Like, if you make dumb
Hmm.
decisions like think about DK Metcalf. No one disagrees that DK Metcalf is an awesome wide receiver. But to go out and literally fight with the fan, like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, the game is against the other team. It's not against the fans. So, um, anyway, I just had to get that out there, Dallin, as we were talking about the receivers.
no, it's a great point. And I agree with Andrew that I didn't Golden didn't really pop off the screen last year. And there's
Hmm.
a lot of like analytics guys that talk about, oh, well, there was a margin of error there that was very small and it hit all the time. Like there's a lot of almost guys out there with Matthew Golden right now that are believers in him and that think,
Hmm.
oh, we've analyzed every pass, and if it was just a half yard closer, he would have had like three more touchdowns, or I don't know what
You
it
can
is.
say
But
that with everybody.
that's the thing. It's like that's the NFL. And so
Hmm.
the thing that's interesting to me is I agree with you, Andrew, that Golden looked like maybe a really good gadget type receiver, but that's what Jaden Reed is to them. So I don't know
Exactly.
why Wicks wasn't retained. The only thing I can think of is that maybe LaFleur is really all in on this like heavy formation, two wide receiver stuff, and he's just gonna roll um, Watson out there for the 5 games he's available, and then like it's somebody on the opposite side, either Jaden Reed or Matthew Golden. But the reports I've seen about Golden are that he's lining up as the X in a lot of these
Mm.
preseason looks for the Packers. So I don't know. I'm fascinated to see. that team too.
Yeah.
And then they've got the whole Josh Jacobs deal too. Like I don't know what's going to happen.
And then Parsons is out at least half the year,
Hmm.
and everyone's saying Tucker Craft's healthy, he's good to go, but I don't know. I have a hard time believing that that bad of an injury that happened, and then you're playing your normal play right out the gate year one. There's got to be,
Yeah.
at least to my opinion, some ramp up period to where the first few games you're like, all right, he's playing, but he's not Tucker Craft playing. I have to imagine it's not going to be till about mid-season that we see Tucker Craft back, and he's a great player. And I'm a Vikings fan. I can say that the Green Bay Packers have a great player in Tucker Craft, but that injury that quickly, sure, he might be playing, but I don't know if he's going to be that guy yet.
All right. You keep thinking that. I'll draft him in like the 12th round in our fantasy league. And
Oh, the 12th round is totally fine, but there's
I'm just
some
kidding.
things there are some like platforms that have him ranked as tight end five. I'm like,
Oh,
whoa,
that's
whoa,
crazy.
that's a
Yeah.
little high.
I think that that's fair.
It's risky, but he is that, right?
If
Like
he's healthy, he is a
he's
tight end five.
probably
Yes.
he's probably tight end three if he's healthy. I think he goes over Warren and Loveland if he's healthy.
I
Same
would
with
agree
Okay.
with
Kittle.
that.
Same with Kittle. I mean, Kittle might be with those other guys because he's older.
Hmm.
I feel like that for George Kittle, I feel like nostalgia wins out for him. Like
He was awesome last year.
when he was available.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with Kraft, right? Like Kraft was like
Well,
tight
I
Hmm.
end
mean,
one.
the difference between Kraft and Kittle is that Kraft suffered a devastating injury. Kittle's just consistently injured.
Kittle was great last year till he popped his Achilles. Like he had the same thing as Kraft last year as in the devastating injury
I
department.
thought he had some other injuries too earlier in the year. I remember him being out at least a couple games because of injury.
Yeah, he probably was. He's banged up all the time. You're right.
Hmm.
I think Kraft, the reports we're seeing on Kraft seem almost it's kind of like a too good to be true situation. Like it sounds
Yeah.
almost all positive. Like there's not been one single report of, oh, he had to sit out today, or he's resting that knee, or oh, he was wearing a
Hmm.
brace. It's just like, no, he's running reps with the ones, and he's catching everything, and he's going to be ready to go week one, and we've never seen anything like this. And that makes me a little
Hmm.
nervous.
So it
It's and
was,
Yeah.
especially how physical he plays. He plays with a
Oh
physicality that
yeah.
a lot of tight ends don't. He looks for contact.
Well, him and Kittle actually have a very similar,
They're like the same guy. Yeah.
yeah, run after the catch style. Yeah.
Hmm.
so Kraft got injured on November 2nd. Mahomes got injured on December 14th. I want to see when George Kittle got his injury.
His was late as
January
well.
11th.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the fact that these guys are trying to play early in the season, I mean, it's so crazy to me how fast the recovery time is though for these
It's
guys.
increasing every year, it seems like.
Hmm. So anyway, I'm excited about, see your division, Andrew, is really fun to me. I think there's
Yeah.
some really cool storyline. Like I'm
Yeah.
fascinated to see your team. I don't know what it's going to look like. I think it'll be good, but
Hmm.
no idea. The defense was pretty solid last year. What do you think about this year? Because I was seeing stuff yesterday about their joint practice. Who did they? Who were they against? The Ravens?
Ravens, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. What did you think of how that went?
So last year, not a lot of people kind of realize this because they were a 98 team, but we had a top five defense.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it was really good. And it's not necessarily because of the players, it's because of the DC. I will stand on that we have the best DC in the league. I know that Lance disagrees because he's a big Fangio guy, but Flores, I just love his aggression. Like there are some guys that play it safe. He's like, I don't care. We're hunting the football. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love watching. I mean, the preseason game against the Giants, what do we do to Jackson Dart? We put him in the blue tent in one of his first reps already. Like, you just go over there where you belong, Jackson. Jay Ward off
Yeah.
the edge.
I think that they would like a word because I think the Giants would say the NFL put him in the blue tent based off of Jackson
That's
Dart's
fair.
interview.
That's fair because it had nothing to do with his head, but he got speared right in the gut. Right, it was beautiful, and it was a play that I think it was Tyrone Tracy Jr. was supposed to block our safety, and he's like got totally manhandled and
Oh,
didn't
dude.
even touch him, and it was beautiful. I saw that play live. I was like, oh, yes,
They need
I
Scabo
loved
back
it.
so bad.
Now he's healthy somewhat, and he played in that game, and he had some good runs.
Oh, that's another
But
one that
yeah,
I just can't believe. Like some of these
sure,
injuries. His injury was
I
horrible.
agree. It was. It was, but yeah, he played in the preseason game and he looked tough. We couldn't bring him
He
down
looked good.
with one guy. But to answer your question, I love our defense, and we're going on a little bit of a youth movement because in this draft, like the first four picks, I think was all defense. Well, the first four out of the first five was all defense, and I'm here for it. We drafted two defensive linemen to get younger because Hargrave and Allen did not pan out last year. So, best of luck to the Packers with Allen and best of luck with the Bengals with Hargrave because they're not what they used to be and they're getting paid like they used to be. So that's just, best of luck to you guys. I will say though, the two defensive linemen you drafted, Caleb Banks and Dominic Orange, they didn't look great in the first preseason game, but they're rookies. They just got to
Mm,
learn technique and leverage. They have all the physical tools. They just got out leveraged in that preseason game. So that's something you'll
mm,
learn. They had flashes where they cut into the backfield, got a tackle for loss, or got Jackson Dart off his spot. But there was more times that they were getting pushed back because they just were not lower than the offensive linemen. And it was like a welcome to the NFL moment. And that's going to be good for them because, again, they have all the talent, all the skill. They just got to learn technique and precision and consistency. So I thought the preseason game was good for them. But there are two guys specifically on our defense, again, rookies, that I am really looking forward to. And that's our linebacker, Jake Galday. He is a just a Swiss Army knife. He could do everything. He's playing linebacker. He's playing edge rusher. He'll probably line up on the D line a couple times,
mm.
just because Flores is a psycho.
Yeah,
And he'll
Flores,
probably
he loves guys like that, right?
yeah, and he'll probably play against the slot receiver. I mean, Jake Alday's got long arms. He's fast. He was lined up, and I can't think he was Cincinnati last year. He was lined up against in the slot, some there too, knocking down passes. And there's been times in camp to where I think there was one play specifically where he was rushing on the end, and then he almost did a Van Ginkel thing, which Van Ginkel's great at this, and I think Alday's going to be the Van Ginkel replacement in a year or two. But where he backed up in coverage in the flat and then there was a route going past him, and he went with them and got his big old mitts up, tipped the ball up, interception. And it just,
Mm,
that's his game right there. He gets in passing lanes that you don't really anticipate. And the other rookie I'm interested in, I don't know if he's going to immediately play because right now he's fourth on our cornerback depth chart, but he could overtake Pierre, our rookie that not rookie, but the free agent we got from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He could overtake him, and that's Charles Demings. Remember that name because he he is just so much fun. I love watching him play because he is a very humble guy until he hits the field. And then he is
mm.
all talk, all chatter. He's going up against Justin Jefferson, knocking a pass down, and doing a too small celebration right next to him. A rookie doing that against one of the best receivers in the league, tipping the like knocking the pass breakup, great play, and then doing a too small celebration right next to him. I'm like, you you got some you got some cojones for that, and I'm for it. And he does that every single practice. There's always two or three plays where he's knocking a ball down or in like getting in the way and breaking something up and celebrating in the guy's face. I'm like, whew, that's that's courage, and I love watching it. And I'm really excited to see him in the preseason. He didn't show anything in the preseason, but he wasn't really thrown against, which is also a credit to him that he didn't really get any passes thrown his way. It was other areas of the field. So he has the potential to be our third corner, and I'm really excited for it. And he was a sixth round pick, I think, or fifth round, either the end of the fifth round, beginning of the sixth. But another rookie I'm excited for is on offense, and his name is Max Bredesen. You're talking about Eli Rareddick, right, for your tight end that you guys got. Max
Mhm.
Bredesen's like a similar thing, but he's a fullback. And man, he is like a heat-seeking missile. He wants to take someone out. He basically is almost guaranteed for one guy's eliminated whenever he's blocking. Like, hey, his guy's going to be done. And there was the very first run that we had in the preseason. It was an outside zone concept, which I'll touch on because that's pretty exciting. And Max Bredesen was leading, and he set the edge, and he took his guy back 2 yards, and Aaron Jones just right out the gate, 15-yard play, very first play from scrimmage. I was
Mm.
like, all right. Second play from scrimmage, same concept, but it was a play action fake and a pass to Max Bredesen. It was only like a 3 yard gain, but they're showing something there. I'm like, I really love that kid. He's going to be one of my favorite players to watch just because he seeks to destroy one person and he usually
Yeah.
succeeds. And it's awesome. I just love those type of guys, like those old school, like I'm gonna take you out kind of guys. So I think the defense is looking really good. I'm really excited for it. And I am really interested in our change in our run game because we got Frank Smith from the Dolphins, and the Dolphins were really big in this outside zone scheme with Devon Achane, and Devon Achane's his own type of talent, and no one can replicate that. But with that scheme, getting all your offensive linemen moving out to the edge and having the running back have options to choose from instead of just run up the middle, giving everyone options. And it's been looking really good in camp. Aaron Jones has gotten a little bit thinner, not lost a lot of weight, but a little bit thinner, a little bit quicker. Same with Jordan Mason. Low key,
Mm.
Jordan Mason could have a decent year if he can stay healthy, which that's it's always a concern with like Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. But this run game looks legit. I mean, both of them, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, which they didn't play a lot, but they averaged 7 yards a carry against the Giants in the preseason game. It
Mm.
was legitimate. Um, the negative side with our run game is our rookie we drafted. He's Damon Claiborne. He needs to hold on to the ball. In camp, he's been dropping almost every pass, and he had a bad fumble against the Ravens. And it's just something he struggled with in college too. He's got elite speed. He's got Devon Achane type speed and quickness, but he just cannot hold on to the ball. And that
Mm.
gets you on the bench. You can't play if you cannot hold on to the ball. And we're seeing that. And in the preseason game against the Giants, there were times where he almost broke it. It was like one of those he just didn't quite have enough space, but if he had another yard, he's gone.
Mm.
But he just can't hold on to the ball. So I don't truly think he's going to play this year if this continues in camp because
Is
that
that your
is,
team's Clifford Franklin this year, Andrew?
you never know. It's very possible. It's very possible. Different position, but yeah. Yeah, maybe we need to put some stickum on his gloves or something.
Never know.
It's gonna sound, it sounds like a great track athlete right there. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, so hopefully he can figure that out. But if he can't, you won't see him. He might not even make the team. Again, elite speed, elite speed. He's going to be our kick returner. So that might be what saves him on the
Mm.
team because he was returning kicks against the Giants and it looked good. Like, again, if there's a hole, he's gone.
Mm.
But he just got to hold on to that ball. Just got to hold on to that ball, kid. Just hold on to that ball. Um,
So going into week one, what do you think the backfield split looks like? Because I know that was a
mhm.
big point of conversation, not just for fantasy,
Yeah,
but for your team last year.
I think it's as way it's looking, it's almost like a right down the middle 50-50 split between Jones and Mason. But with both of them, high chance one of them gets hurt, more likely Jones. And so if that happens, then it probably like 70% either Jones or Mason and 30% maybe Claiborne if he can hold on to the ball or to be determined. I'm making a prediction like Lance did with the linebacking group. I'm making a prediction that we pick up a running back after cuts
Mm.
because we had hopes in Demond Claiborne. They could be our three. And if he didn't have fumble issues, he is absolutely the three. But you can't play someone who can't hold on the ball. You just can't do it. So I'm
Yeah.
predicting that we're probably going to get someone out of cuts. The Cardinals have like 19 different running backs. Probably one of them are going to get cut, and we can pick one of them up, like a Trey Benson. I think that'd be a fine three for us. But right now, we don't have a true three. I'm just going to
Mm.
say that because Damon Claiborne hasn't shown it. Now, there's still a few weeks left. If he can get that under control and really pop, who knows? But right now, I don't have much confidence in a guy that at any moment he gets hit the right way, balls on the ground, and it could be totally changing the outcome of the game. You just can't have that.
Yeah. Agree. Hmm.
But I think
That's
I
cool. That's
know,
cool that both backs are handling the outside zone changes, though.
yeah, and they're looking good at it right now. And joint practices, they're looking good at it. The preseason game, they looked really good at it. And KOC is not showing everything right now.
Hmm.
He's holding it close to his vest because we got two division games right out the gate, Packers and Bears. So he doesn't want them to know everything we're cooking up. And it's very vanilla. Like in that preseason game, Kyler Murray threw three passes, and they were all very, very simple concepts. Like I said, that one little play action throw that Max Bredesen for 3 yards. He had like a 7 yard throw to Addison, just a little simple out route, and then he missed Aaron Jones on like a just got to get out in the flat. He just missed them. They were on the same page. And then even when McCarthy was in there, it was very vanilla. I was like, yeah, you're keeping it close to your vest, and I like it. I like
Hmm.
it because he's got something special. And I think the Packers are going 0-1. That's all I'm going to say.
That's cool. I like that. It's cool that you guys open up against them too. That'll be a really fun
Hmm.
game to watch. I hope you're ready for
Yeah,
the
and
Kyler Murray experience, though. I'm
well,
pretty sure
we've already witnessed some of it.
I'm pretty sure Kyler Murray is what really caused my dad's gray hair as a Cardinals fan.
Hmm. Yeah, we're already seeing some of it because in practices, he has been really good in the intermediate to short game. And then in the long ball, he's throwing up YOLO balls. Now, Justin Jefferson's coming down with those YOLO balls.
Yeah, you guys have the
But
luxury.
I still don't like it. There's been two plays that in practice has been all over social media, like, whoa. I'm like, no, I don't like that because that has potential for two bad outcomes. Jefferson getting smoked or an interception. In the practices, no one's hitting each other, so offense obviously has the advantage. So Jefferson just goes up and snags him because he's elite. But in a game, I don't want to see that. Even if it's a touchdown and it looks great, that concerns me because he's just throwing it up in double coverage and Jefferson's coming down with it. But eh, I'm not a huge fan of that. But his short game and his intermediate game is on point. And with the way our run game's changing, I'm interested to see if they have any kind of quarterback, options kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if they're working on that because again, they're not really showing much. But I know everyone is curious about the quarterback competition. I'm sure you guys have your thoughts. And I want to start with people are saying, was it legitimate competition or did they end it too soon? The way I kind of see it is kind of in the middle between those two, to where I think how it went, and there's been reports on both ends, so many reports. And I think how it went was whenever Kyler Murray was available and they offered him that $1.3 million deal for a starting quarterback, which is like cheating right there.
Hmm.
They kind of penciled him in as their starter, but they didn't want to like put it in stone until they saw if McCarthy developed or not. They wanted to give him a shot. So it was a true competition in sorts to see if McCarthy took a leap, then the job's his. But in practices, it was kind of even between McCarthy and Murray. Murray probably had less like inaccurate passes than McCarthy did, but McCarthy probably had some of those like more wow throws, but he was more inconsistent, which he was all year last year. So I don't think he truly improved enough for the coaches to trust it yet. So I think that's why they kind of ended it semi soon because there was practices where he looked good and there was practices where he was like 4 for 18 and it just ball hit the ground too much. And with Kyler Murray, he was almost consistently like 10 for 17, just solid, not great, not like wow moments, but he wasn't turning the ball over and he wasn't throwing really bad inaccurate passes. Just he wasn't on the same page with the team because he's new, doesn't know the system. So I think that's what it was. I think McCarthy had to kind of blow them away to get the job, but he had a shot. They were going to give him a legitimate shot, and he didn't blow him away. He was just fine. He was kind of like he was last year. He improved some things, but it was still very inconsistent. And then the notion of that they should trade him now, he has not made any kind of statement or any kind of bad feelings of wanting out. In fact, the very first time they interviewed him, he says, "This is where I want to be. I want to learn here, and I want to take every opportunity I have to get better." Which of course, that's coach speak. You're gonna say the right things when you're being interviewed, but there's been nothing coming out on his side that he wants out, and it's just silly to trade a quarterback that you're paying like pennies on the dollar for, who has 2 years left under contract for a sixth round pick. Because if we're being honest, no one's going to give really much more than a sixth or fifth round pick right now. Now, if someone offered a second or a third, I'd listen, but they're not gonna because he hasn't shown anything in actual games last year. He showed flashes, but very inconsistent. And then in camp this year, it's been a little bit less inconsistent, but still inconsistent. So you're only going to get a late day three pick, and it's why bother? Keep him on your roster. Try to develop him. He's got 2 years left on a contract. Next year, if it's not looking right, okay, now you can get a fifth or sixth because he's in his last year of his rookie deal, and you're not going to give him his fifth year option. So, but this year, it doesn't make any sense to trade him. And KOC has already said that he's the backup, and everyone's saying, well, that could mean the third string, potentially. And another thing people are pointing to, which I wanted to clarify, because everyone's saying that Carson Wentz in the preseason game played almost as many snaps as JJ McCarthy and looked really good. So he looked okay. The touchdown throw he threw was a very bad decision. It was just our receiver made a great play. He's throwing a fade to the shortest receiver on our team. Why would he audibled to that? It was a run up the middle, and he audibled to a fade to the shortest receiver on the team. Now, the short receiver made a great one-handed catch for a touchdown, so Carson Wentz gets credit for a touchdown pass, but I thought that was a not a very smart call. But it was really awesome seeing Justin Jefferson's celebration on the sideline. So if you haven't seen that video, you need to watch Justin Jefferson celebrating Miles Price's touchdown catch. It was awesome. Um, but the main reason Carson Wentz played so much is because Max Brosmer, our fourth string, got hurt. He hurt his thumb. He only played like one series. And then they already played McCarthy as much as they wanted to that game. So Carson Wentz just got the rest.
Mm.
Everyone's pointing to that they played Carson Wentz and McCarthy the same amount. They're battling for the two. I mean, potentially they could be battling for the two. But the reason why Carson Wentz played so much is just because the other quarterback got hurt. It wasn't because he was playing well and they wanted to keep him playing. It's just Brosmer got hurt and they didn't want to put McCarthy back out there because he already played like 3 series, I think. Now, those series, he didn't look great. And again, everyone's pointing to the black and white numbers. But there were two throws specifically. I can think of one. His best throw of the whole game was dropped by our fourth or fifth string receiver. His name is Ty Felton. He was a third round pick last year. And it was a great back shoulder fade throw. And he got off his defender and he was wide open, hit him in the chest, and he dropped it. It was like a 25-yard gain if he caught that. And the drive would have kept going, and who knows, McCarthy might have got a touchdown drive, but dropped it, and we had to punt. And everyone's pointing to that he couldn't keep drives alive. Now, he did have moments where he's very hesitant, and that is the key thing in camp this year. He's been very hesitant. He's been slow to process, and I think that has been the main reason why they gave it to Murray over him to see if he could really get rid of that hesitancy and be more demanding and more decisive, and it just wasn't. He was kind of slow to process, did not want to make that mistake, and you can't do that in NFL. But overall, there's no reason why you want to trade him for a sixth-round pick. That's my opinion. Now, does that mean they won't trade him? Who knows what they're going to do? Because we have Nolan Teasley's our GM now, and he's been making some moves. I like the moves he's made so far, but he's not tied to JJ McCarthy. He didn't draft him. He didn't super look at him when he was with the Seahawks. Of course, he did his due diligence, but they weren't looking at drafting a quarterback that year. So who knows what's going to happen? But I will end with a sadder note, and that's Jamal Adams. Picked him up, free agency, just a random guy to pick up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, it's good, camp depth, see if he can make the team. He was showing out in practice. He was getting like time with the first team, and he was making plays. And in that preseason game, there was a time where he cut through the line and tackled the running back behind the line of scrimmage, and it was awesome. But that stinking turf monster at the New York Giants Stadium gets someone every year. And I just feel bad for him because he was on an interview last year with actually this year, like a few weeks ago, talking about his quad injury, his left quad, I think it was, and how he said, all due respect to ACLs and all knee injuries, he said, but I think the quad is the hardest thing to recover from because it took him at least 2 years to try to be himself again. And sure enough, he tears his other quad in that preseason game. I'm like, man, that's so devastating because he's the type of guy that would play football for a ham sandwich. He really
Yeah.
is because he took like a 1 point something million dollar deal. And people were asking, why'd you take so low? He's like, I don't care. I just want to play football. And I'm really excited to play for Brian Flores. That's literally what he said. He just wants to play football for someone that he can trust. And he was playing really well. He was going to mix in with our starting defense and he was going to make some plays. He's like the perfect Brian Flores guy, just someone who attacks and hunts for the ball. He's not great in coverage anymore. He's not physically as gifted like he used to be, but he is still smart and he can still go after that ball. And that's what he was doing in all of camp. But it sucks. He's going to be on the sidelines. He's going to be coaching our safety room, which is good because our safety room now is super young and needs all the help they can get. It might be I don't know if I would say it's our weakest group because there's depth to it, but it's our youngest group and it needs all the coach he can get, unless Harrison Smith comes back, which there's still that opportunity. Harris Smith might come back. Who knows? But it just sucks to see Adams go down like that. It really did. Turf monster. And the thing is, it shouldn't have happened. I'm partially blaming the Vikings for it because in that game against the Giants, there was a 3rd and 26, and they throw a screen pass to Devin Singletary, old Singletary, and
Mm.
our defense takes the worst angles you could ever take in the history of mankind trying to tackle him. And he is literally just walking through, getting a 35-yard gain. At the very end, he's just kind of skipping out of bounds. I was like, what are we doing? And then the very next play, everyone's giving Jackson Dart great hype on that pass that he threw in the back of the end zone to Malachi Fields. But that's the play that Jamal Adams tore his quad.
Mm.
Shouldn't have happened. We should have been off the field. But 3rd and 26 on a screen pass, you take terrible angles. Singletary wasn't even touched. It wasn't like he broke tackles. He was just walking through, wide open, easy 30-yard gain. And the very next play is when Jamal Adams tore his quad up. I was like, should not have even happened.
Mm.
But
I
so
didn't
was
realize
life.
that that was after the Singletary play because I saw the Singletary play
Hmm.
in a clip, but I didn't realize it was the next play.
Very next play.
Mm. Well, I've is there even a team out there? I want to go back to McCarthy for just a second.
Hmm.
You mentioned that a trade might still happen. What what scenario actually leads to that? Like what team out
That's
there is
fair.
not trading for McCarthy other than as a backup?
I
Right
think that.
now,
Go
it's
ahead, Andrew.
only for a backup. But if
Yeah,
there's an injury, happens. Injuries
right.
happen.
Barring injury, yeah.
Yeah. The one that people keep bringing up is going back to the Chargers, going back to his old coach, Harbaugh, because right now their backup's Trey Lance. And who's better right now? Like, that's anyone can pick who's better, Trey Lance or McCarthy, but Harbaugh probably would trust McCarthy more. So that's what everyone brings up. That does make sense. But again, if we're getting offered a fifth or a sixth, why? It makes no sense when he's under contract for 2 more years.
Hmm. That's an interesting one. I hadn't even thought about that one.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean
Hmm.
I see what you're saying, but like the Chargers have a pretty decent quarterback room. You have Justin Herbert, Trey Lance, DJ Uiagalelei. I mean, that's not bad.
Well, Trey Lance is the poster child for getting benched after the short stint. I mean, JJ McCarthy was 10 games, Trey Lance was like four.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean,
you might be able to make an argument that McCarthy plays, not that this is the end all be all, but it's nice to have a backup quarterback that plays similarly to your starter. And I
to your
feel like
starter.
McCarthy is closer to
That's
Herbert
that's fair.
than Trey Lance is. Yeah. So
Hmm.
the Chargers are loaded up, by the way. So like you could see them making a move like that just in case, right? Because they're
They
ready to
did
go on a run.
they did just lose their center though. I don't know how that's
Oh, I
gonna
saw that.
hurt them. Yeah, I've been kind of semi in on them too. Like I was thinking low key, this team looks pretty set, and then centers get a lot less credit than they deserve, and losing your
Hmm.
starting center really does hurt.
It's
So I'm
devastating.
yeah, and
Yeah, because
Tyler
they're
Bidas was
usually the
good.
brains, right? Like they're the brain
hmm
of the
Yeah,
operation
they
a lot
set
of
the
times.
lineup, they set shifts up. Sometimes veteran quarterbacks do, but a lot of times it's the center.
Yeah, it's most
So
likely
Yeah.
the
it's
center, especially when
mhm.
you
There
can't
there
hear
were
very well.
there were two that went down yesterday. One was the Chargers, and I can't remember who else. Another center went down with an injury. And I don't know how serious it was, but I remember seeing that and being like, what? It's the day of centers. Injuries have been rocking through the league this
Yeah,
preseason.
yeah.
Was it
Jalen
Danny
Noel from the
Pinter for
Texans.
the Ravens? Is that who you're thinking of?
The Ravens, yeah, it was. What ended up happening with that, Lance? Did you see?
Doesn't say.
Mm,
Sounds like they're still evaluating him. But
dang.
I gotta focus on Andrew because I feel like it didn't come very much in your comments. But I'm a little surprised you're okay with them calling the race so early. I
Me
I still
too.
feel like that's a bad decision.
Well, the main reason I'm kind of quote unquote okay with it, I still would have preferred to see McCarthy play another year to try to develop, but it's kind of twofold. One, our ownership never wants to have a quote unquote tank season, which I don't think it would have been, but it would have been a let's see what McCarthy can do, and if he's terrible, we'll draft a quarterback next year. They always want to go for the playoffs. That's their only option, and that's how it is every year. And in camp, with McCarthy being so hesitant, he's just slow the process. He's not making decisive decisions, and he would have been sacked numerous times. But of course, you can't sack quarterbacks in camp. That's been the biggest red flag so far this offseason is he's just a lot slower to process than he was in his first offseason when he played against the Raiders that preseason game. That was awesome. He was decisive, throwing the ball out, looked great, but I don't know what happened. But he is not as confident in his reading of defenses and the Brian Flores defense for one thing. But in that joint practice with the Ravens, he was like 5 of 14 to start the game, to start his against the second team. He's just too inconsistent. And the Minnesota Vikings, the whole organization always wants to win now. They don't want to try to kind of punt the year and develop guys. They want to win now. So as of right now, this season, Kyler Murray gives them a better chance to win than JJ McCarthy. In the future, that's a totally different story because I don't think we're going to be able to keep Kyler Murray because if he plays well, he's got a good team to play well in. Someone's going to pay him 40, $50 million, and I don't think we're going to do it. So next year, who knows what's going to happen with our quarterback room.
Mm.
But the brass wants to win this year. And the way that camp looked, Kyler Murray has a better chance for us to win. I'm not saying he's going to take us a long way, but to win more games this year, I think Kyler Murray gives a best chance out of those two, just the way practices looked. Because I was anticipating McCarthy was going to be a lot better, develop, and his mechanics look a lot better, a lot sharper. But he's just slow to make decisions, and that's a killer for quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable in the NFL. Like you have to be decisive or else you're a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a given.
Now, he still is 23 years old and he's only played 10 games, so that can improve. But for this season, with them wanting to win all the time, it wouldn't have worked out.
I don't know. I
Kyler
just
Murray would
I
have given a better chance.
I feel like you could be making the Sam Darnold mistake though with the Jets. That's what I feel like. I feel like you could be
Well,
taking.
that's why I don't think they're going to trade him.
Mm,
Teasley's
Well,
the
it's
only
like,
question
but
mark.
the problem is though is that you can't in the NFL you have to account for the fact that people have emotion, right? Because if that's the case, right, your argument you're
Mhm,
making, we should have kept AJ Brown.
yeah.
But that doesn't work. Like players have emotions. They have
mhm,
frustrations, and like this costs political will with JJ McCarthy. And if Kyler Murray plays bad, you can't just go back and repair the marriage. Like there's only one example I would give where I'd say this kind of happened and it did work, and that was with the Panthers. But when they made the switch out and put Dalton in, the coach made very clear that the goal was always to go back. That Dalton was just coming in for a short
mhm.
time to allow for things to kind of get settled, figured out, and then resume things. And that's not the narrative that's being sold in Minnesota right now. I'm concerned, and I just think it's something that has to be counted for, that the idea was always to go with Murray, and they're just pushing this narrative because they always wanted to go with Murray. Like I get the decision making, I understand what you're saying. It's just like you got to know. And you can't tell me that there's
Hmm.
even like a shadow of a well, we might go back. Like we know what Murray is. He is a known quantity. Like there's like the contract negotiations with the Cardinals just echoes that there's just issues with Murray that he's just not worked through. And so I'm not saying it can't work out. I just feel like it just seems so aggressive to give Murray the starting job right now. And like I think that there's value in having the games play out, knowing that they both have to compete and show out, and then the starting job will be given. I still feel like it's a questionable decision long term, and KOC can't hide behind anybody anymore. He can't hide behind Kwesi. So like that's the part I'm just curious about. Like, is he gonna take full account for like this is his ship? And like if it doesn't work
Hmm.
out, maybe he shouldn't be the coach anymore type thing. Like that's the part I'm kind of curious to see about. And I'm not saying it can't. I just it's very puzzling to me. I feel like that you want to take that time to evaluate and really think about if that's who you want to be your starter. But I'm not seeing the practices, so I'm not seeing how bad this decision making is. It is just hard because
Yeah.
if you have already in your mind made up what you want, then it's really easy to push out the narratives just to justify the decisions you're making.
Right.
Well, to kind of
But
piggy
it
off
but
your
it could have been
point,
done more politically, is what you're saying, more savvily.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but to piggy off your point of I hope KOC knows that his job's on the line. That's why they're going with Murray because the way
Hmm.
McCarthy's looked, if he's out there a second year and he looks very similar to last year, KOC's done. He needs to win now. And the way to win now, unfortunately, is Murray over McCarthy. Now, long term, I'm right there with you. I don't know how this looks long term. It's probably not going to look good. But for this season, the best chance to win is Murray over McCarthy, the way they're looking in camp right now.
And those reps are gold, right?
Hmm.
So to their, the flip side of the argument is like, feelings aside, getting Murray all those reps instead of splitting them for an inevitable outcome is probably more logically sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was saying I think that it was written in pencil. They wanted to see if McCarthy can prove them that he
Mhm.
is the guy this year. And so they gave him a little window and he just wasn't showing enough. Like, all right, Murray's our guy. So I think that's what it was. It was kind of predetermined, but not like contract was not signed. You're the starter right now. It's let's see if McCarthy can show us something. And he didn't. And all right, we need to get Murray as much reps as he can. We need to make sure he's the guy for our joint practices, which is like vital for your starters. And so they made the call middle of last week.
Well, I feel like when you can get a guy like Murray, as talented as he is, like problems, we know he has issues, right? But I would
Sure.
also argue that Cardinals ownership has been a mess for how long,
That's
and
fair.
management and all that. And so maybe the Vikings believed they could bring Murray in and fix some of those
Hmm.
off-field type stuff, and have the cheapest, the best bang for buck quarterback,
Hmm.
probably in the NFL if it does work out. Fun little tidbit about Kyler Murray. I got to see his high school stadium this last weekend in Dallas,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's insane. Allen High School. Yeah. So, um, biggest high school in North America is what they say. And he was a legend there. In fact, I don't think he even lost a game there, is what I've heard. Um, I need to
Yeah.
check that.
So high school and college, he was really tough to beat. NFL, different story.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete in a way that McCarthy is not. And so I think his pedigree, yeah,
Yeah.
he was 42-0 as a starting quarterback in high school in Texas 6A football. Um,
Hmm.
so like he comes from, he has the chops to be a top five NFL quarterback. It's just a matter of mentality and emotion.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And to piggyback on an emotion, I think KOC prefers his emotion to McCarthy's, honestly, because McCarthy is a very vocal, like rah rah kind of guy, and Murray's very quiet and stoic. And I think in a way, KOC prefers that because there was that play last year where McCarthy's gritting into the end zone and KOC hated it. And he was doing that in practice, and KOC told him, don't do that in the game. And he did it in the game because he's that kind of player with he has his emotions on his sleeve. And KOC had most success with a Kirk Cousins and a Sam Darnold. They don't show their emotions. They just
Yeah.
go out and play football. I think that's what he prefers.
Hmm. Yeah, well, 6 games in, Kyler Murray's going to be pouting on the sideline, and you're going to be on this podcast
Or
like, what are
or
we
he's going to be
thinking?
hurt. That's the other thing. He
Yeah,
is hurt all the time. So again, why get rid of an asset that could play for you in JJ McCarthy? And that's another reason why we have Carson Wentz because McCarthy got hurt too. So KOC is just trying to cover all his bases because the years where his quarterback played well and he was healthy, he had 14 and 13 wins. The years where his quarterback got hurt, he had 9 wins because his backups were terrible. So he wants to have better backups. And so our quarterback room, honestly, if you just look at it talent wise, I'm not saying it's going to be the best, but talent wise, our quarterback room is one of the best in the NFL right now. Because Carson Wentz, who has been an MVP candidate for his first season before he got hurt, is our three right now.
yeah. I think the problem with quarterbacking is it's a power law game, right? It's the
Hmm.
starting quarterback disparity is going to be there probably for you guys where it's not for other teams, like even
Yeah,
within
I
your own
agree with that.
division.
Yeah, and I can easily say that Minnesota has the worst starting quarterback in the division, but I don't think we're going to finish last.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you think's going to finish last?
So I was
It can't
talking
be
to
the
a coworker.
Lions this year.
Yeah,
Their
yeah. So I
schedule's
was
too
talking to my
easy.
coworker about this. I was talking to a coworker about this, and I do have a little bit of, purple Kool-Aid in my veins. So, kind of give me a little grace on that. But I think it's going to end this way. I think the Lions are going to win the division because, like you said, that easy schedule. It's just it's a cakewalk basically. Outside of their playing their own division, like I think every team's going to kind of split. So everyone's going to win like 3 or 4 games within the division and lose 3 or 4 games. But the Lions have the super easy schedule outside of that. I think they play like the Titans and they play the Cardinals, and I think it's just like it's super easy. I think that the Bears they're going to be a good team, but that discrepancy between the turnover differential, they had like a plus 20 in turnovers. You can't count on that. And they won these games in the fourth quarter, these great fourth quarter comebacks because of these turnovers. Those two things you can't count on. They're a good team. Caleb Williams is going to continue to develop. He's a really good quarterback. Ben Johnson's going to work with them. They're going to improve some areas of their team this year. But I think their defense is going to be a little bit worse. And I don't think they're going to be able to count on those turnovers and those fourth quarter comebacks. So I have them finishing in third.
Mm,
Now, all these teams I think are going to be like within a game of each other. Like I think the Lions are going to win 11 games. I think the Bears are going to win like 9 games, and probably the
That
Packers,
means,
who I have finishing last,
yeah,
are
you're
probably
saying the
going to win
Vikings
nine
are going to
games as
finish
well.
second in the division? I mean, that
I
is
am.
it's
aggressive.
bold.
I think they're going to finish second. I think they're going to be a 10-win team, flirt with the wild card. I think that the Bears and Packers both win nine
Hmm.
games.
That is really surprising given our conversation about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's the entire team, and our run game and defense looks legit. And you can win this league with a run game and defense.
Well, and you could argue
And
that of the
and the
four
thing with
teams,
Kyler Murray,
The Packers got weaker,
Yeah, I think
harder
that
than the
that's
other teams, right?
yeah.
So maybe
mhm.
that's the right way to think about it. But
And the
anyway,
thing
I
with
cut you
Kyler
off
Murray
again.
is, no, you're good. You're good. The thing with Kyler Murray is one of the best aspects of him is he doesn't turn the ball over. That's one thing. Like his turnover ratio was like the lowest of the NFL the past few years that he's played. He does not do that very often. As far as like turnover worthy plays and all this, especially compared to the quarterbacks that Minnesota's had the past couple of years outside of Sam Darnold. So
Can I
that's
put
going
a
to
point in there
improve.
though?
Yes.
He does very well on the stat sheet as far as turnovers, but he will lead the
Hmm.
league in third and short passes off of a defensive lineman's hands or helmet.
That is 100% true, and we have seen that in camp already. So that don't know how we're going to account for that, but
Yeah.
turnovers and sacks is something that Minnesota has really struggled with the past few years, and that's something Kyler Murray doesn't have happen. I mean, you would think that he gets sacked a lot. He really doesn't. He doesn't get sacked all that often. He gets rid of the ball, but he's a check down Charlie usually, which that's not the best, but KOC preaches completions, and that's all he wants to do. So that is a
Well,
benefit to him
we're gonna
if
see
there's a
if
few of those.
KOC being labeled one of the quarterback whisperers. That, like Lance
Hmm.
said, this year we're gonna know because if he can flip Kyler Murray into something that's incredible,
Hmm.
like everybody thought he was going to be coming out. And the thing with Kyler is like he had flashes of that every year that he's played. He's had
Yeah.
incredible moments. You guys remember the Hail
Yeah.
Murray, right? That was one of the best
Hmm.
plays we've had in the last, and moments really because it won the game. He's the
Hmm.
kind of guy that can make game-winning type plays where he can swing an entire game by himself. But I think
Yeah.
to 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 your point, I think Kyler hasn't had somebody to nurture and coach him up like KOC. But I think if this is a big flop and failure, then it'll say more about KOC than it does about
Sure.
Kyler.
Sure. Because I think McCarthy has been a big red dot on his resume because he had 2 years to develop this kid and he's kind of gotten worse. Because his first
Well,
year in that preseason game against the Raiders, he looked great. And then KOC is saying, we have found our future quarterback, even though he just tore his meniscus. We have found our future quarterback. Then the year he started, he was a little bit worse than what he was the first year. And this year, he has not improved, at least so far in camp. So it's,
I just think we got to throw this out there. I'm not like a JJ McCarthy huge fan, but I think we're forgetting he beat the Lions last year in a pretty impressive win. He beat the Cowboys in a pretty impressive win. Like let's not
mhm.
make it sound like there's not been moments where you're
Oh,
like
yeah, for sure.
there's legitimately something. Like that's what I'm saying is I don't feel like that's the narrative right now in Minnesota land. I feel like the narrative is yeah, we just haven't seen enough there and there just really hasn't been enough there over the past few years and so we're just going to go a different direction. Like that seems we're not talking about Jamarcus Russell. Like that's the part that I
Right.
think is so maddening to me about this whole process
Right.
is
And KOC said in his press conference after he named Murray that McCarthy is in their future. They want to see him develop. They still have confidence in him. Now, again, that could be coach speak, but he said that
I think it's
immediately
coach
after he
speak.
named
I'm
Murray.
going to translate for him, Andrew. It's coach speak. I'm telling you, I totally see a trade in the future. I'm not saying they should trade him. I see a trade. I could totally see them.
If it's a fifth or a sixth round pick, I don't know why you do it.
I agree with you.
That just
I
makes no
understand.
sense.
I just
If
think
someone
that
offers a third and we trade him for a third, I wouldn't want it to happen, but I understand because third round picks value, and McCarthy has not shown his development. Now, again, that very well could be KOC's fault. I'm not saying it's not, but he hasn't shown enough in games last year being very consistent. Like you said, there are flashes that there is something in there for sure, but you can't have all these overthrows and you can't have him throwing 15 interceptions and getting sacked so much whenever your team is ready to win now. Murray, he's got his flaws, but he's not going to get sacked. He's not going to throw all those bad neck breaking interceptions. Now, is he going to have those great moments like McCarthy can? Maybe not, but KOC just needs someone consistent.
yeah.
I
He he
prefer
he
McCarthy.
will he'll have those moments too. Like there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to be
Hmm.
seeing Kyler Murray on a highlight reel,
Sure.
you know. And especially with Jefferson, like that's going to be a fun one to watch is how he can feed Justin Jefferson. It could be fun. It could be
Hmm.
really not fun for you. We'll see. But
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah. But like back when he had Hopkins, Hopkins had an amazing season with Kyler Murray and
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
did.
I think
probably a shell of
Murray's
his Houston self. So yeah.
right. Yeah. I think Murray's rookie season and then 2024 were his best years, and he played pretty well. It wasn't top five, but
It
has there
was
been a
competent. It was
KOC
good.
quarterback
Yeah.
who has ever been top five?
you don't have to be top five to go win important games and go far in the playoffs
Exactly.
and even win a Super Bowl. Like you just, especially if you have a solid defense like you guys have, you can
Yeah.
win a lot of
Last
games.
year, I think overall we had like the 28th best quarterback out of all our quarterbacks we played. And we were like a kickoff return against the Bears away from making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if our quarterback play can be 18th, which I think is doable for Kyler Murray, then yeah, I think Minnesota could finish second in the division if our quarterback play is 18th. Not saying top 10.
Well, and I think if KOC is who we say he is,
Hmm.
it should be 18th or better. In fact, 18th might be a bit disappointing.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe just a bit.
Well,
Let's say top
Minnesota
half.
Vikings
We have
fans
to be
will
in the top half. So
Minnesota
like
Yeah.
Vikings
around
fans will
15 or
take
higher.
18th. We'll take 18th compared to what we were last year with like the 28th best. So if we're 18th, the Minnesota Vikings fans will be thrilled.
Well, to your earlier point, if you have top half quarterback play, maybe you are second in that division. Like I could see
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, it's
So,
very possible.
but you have a very fun division this year. I
Mhm.
Where the
Yeah,
Bears
it's gonna be
go,
fascinating.
yeah, what the next step is for them. The Lions come back, revenge tour since last year. They finished fourth
Hmm.
somehow in the division. Like that's crazy. Um,
Yeah, not a lot of people realize that we finished better than the Lions last year. No one's given us the
yeah,
credit we deserve.
it was close, Andrew.
We we knocked the Lions and we knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Gibbs unleashed this year. There's all kinds of cool stuff in your division.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
absolutely. Well, that's all I had for Viking stuff. Quite a
Cool.
Covered a
lot.
lot.
Well, yeah, we did hit a lot. I'll either be texting you guys a lot or not at all on Saturday when we play the Eagles.
Go Birds.
Uh, So hopefully May goes like 21 for 24 with three touchdowns
Is he
and we
playing
win
in the
every
preseason game?
probably not.
I was gonna say, consider the Eagles aren't playing their starters. I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah, I think the Pats under Vrabel, the Pats have taken a really conservative approach. Like we probably won't play
Hmm.
anybody till later on. So, but he has looked great in practice. I didn't even hit on May, but May, mm, what's his next step? I guess we'll
Hmm.
see. Now he has a legit wide receiver one. That was the thing that was crazy to me last year is he had one of the greatest statistical seasons. And I know we can talk about schedule versus statistics, but um,
It
there
was a
really
good
was
year.
not. There
He
wasn't a wide
deserves.
receiver one on that roster.
Hmm.
Matt
The
Collins, I
best pass
guess.
catcher might have been the tight end.
Yeah, Hunter Henry, it's safety blanket.
Hmm.
So we will see.
Yeah.
Two-team race. We just
Yeah.
have to beat the Bills.
That's basically it.
That's disrespectful to the Dolphins, Dallin. It's just not fair. Same thing with the
I do think
Jets.
I do think the Dolphins are going to be better than people think somehow. I think
Yeah,
Malik
people
Willis
are
is
thinking,
legit.
Yeah, you're talking
yeah, people
about
are
not
saying they're going
having
to be the worst team.
you're talking about not having a wide receiver number one. I'm not even sure the Dolphins have a wide receiver number three on their team.
Oh, have you seen that? Dude, their rookie Caleb Douglas. Did you see his catch in the first preseason game?
Dude,
Hmm.
That was
that's
crazy.
one game. I don't see who the Dolphins have. Is Malik Washington their starter? Is that what it is for their
Probably
Hey,
their depth
Tyreek Hill's still
chart.
available.
Yeah.
oh, and they also
Oh my
got
gosh.
that is it Tutu Atwell? Is that who their wide receiver is?
Yeah, they picked up Tutu Atwell. They picked up is it Tolbert? They just have a
Hmm.
bit a collection of guys. Yeah, just guys,
Yeah,
you know.
Hmm.
these are all just Jags, straight up Jags. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, their
Christian
team's
Gonzalez
going to
is going to
be
be able to
pretty
take a
bad.
nap in a lawn chair that day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He might not we still might not have extended him, so he might not be playing. I don't know. We'll see. So,
All right, this was
yep.
fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Just
Thank you guys for having me. It's always a blast talking
Yeah,
to you guys.
yeah,
yeah,
man. I'll have to have you on
absolutely.
another time.
Cool. Yeah, I still want to have our conversation about I need a fantasy team, 32 team league, and everybody just has all their players from their team. And you just see how it plays out.
That would
That's
be fun.
called that's called the NFL season.
Yeah, it is. It is the NFL season. That's true. But it's not because your fantasy team could be really good and your team could be really bad. I think the Cardinals are projected for 3 wins, and I still maintain that their fantasy team would be sneaky good.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett probably could be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy some
Hmm.
leagues.
He was last year at the end of the
I was
year.
gonna say he was last year. Yeah. Him and
Yep.
Mike
And you have
Wilson had a great
the best
connection,
tight end,
Yep.
a rookie running back that looked electric in his first real action,
even though he got hurt.
even though he got hurt.
Yep. True, true
Cardinals gonna
Cardinals fashion
Cardinal.
right there.
Yeah, Cardinals gonna Cardinal. So, anywho, maybe we'll start that league and just beg somebody to, you know, take the Dolphins or something.
You'd have to incentivize them. You'd have to give them something. Because that would
Yeah,
just be straight
You can
betting.
say you could take the Dolphins or you could take college players. Which one do you want?
right.
College players.
The winner will donate 20% of the proceedings to whoever takes the Dolphins. Yeah.
Oh man.
So,
Well, this was fun, gentlemen. We'll have to do this another time.
yep,
Absolutely.
sounds good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dallin, for joining us. And thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And we will see you next time.
We'll see everybody.